King Boom. Dirty Moors still attempt to infiltrate the order. Active Moors are truth and take it to the corners. Across highways, past hedges and through borders. Move on dirty Moors like broken down waters. Watch out for agents and provocateurs trying to get next to their heads with the doctor's cures. They never pay dues and don't pay dues, contradicting with King Alfred to give clues like news. Noble Drew Ali died from Palemore blues. Prophet saved him his money before the floor fell through, and that's true. Even though I don't have proof, still memory tells me don't fall for spook. Drop mental nukes, hanging from their own vine from the fig tree, looking up at them like Big B. No white flag or mercy for you fags. 5 point and pentagram is on our flag. Green, but not for cream. That dirty Moors took to throw off the balance of the Grand Treasury books, getting offers like high school ballers. Those that infiltrate are not Moors but robbers, robbing the people blind, deaf, dumb, and crippled. They can't tear this up, not one drop or trickle. No matter how hard they try to perpetrate the fraud, dirty Moors always fall on their sword. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started dropping it. Me nah play with uno so simmer and easy. From 19 how long me see it sleazy. So sick it's measly and disgusting. Everyone stood there. The Moors did nothing when Drew was attacked. They took the covenant that they will protect him and have his back. Behind on dues by 4 months. Going to kangaroo courts to perform stunts. Temples versus temples. Lawsuits from inner fights. Not doing their job. 3,500 for birthright. Mufti Force left supposed to be in Gucci stores with God. Thank Allah for the Sufi Moors and Buddhist Nagas. Moorish mic renaissance, not rap sagas. Confusion clearer. Empty battle scar wearer. Moorish nationality declarer. Straighten out the crooked ways. Rap conduct squarer. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started dropping it. Let me strip them down, I'm the bone bearer. Negro, black, colored, minority, death preparer. Not the being, but the label attached. See me like Martin, going crazy, waving gas. Cause you call yourself black, that's a kick me sign on your life. Can't stab your enemy holding the blade of the knife. Numbskull MCs flow so dull that I'm pulling down Orishas like skull caps to torture the rapper, scissor sippers. Rapper, CD scratcher, insert ripper. Call me Jack and get slapped though. Admiral when I flow, major like macro. Don't spit on a cameraman like Pac will, but beat the case like Black Bill but no lawyer. Ask Jim Carrey, liar, liar, do nothing for you while they get rich and poor you. Make you follow magistrate orders that get the coke to snort from wood corners and block ghetto. All I see is rappers, dress codes, repedo, tight shirts, skinny jeans looking like heavy metal bands. I'm not Bay but L like bread and hands. I grab mics, no sweat in hands. With birthright brands, I don't worry about getting scanned. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started dropping it. What up?
Islam, peace and love, Moorish. I am Israel, I left ill, along with my co-host, Ranshi Kujo Ill. Islam Noble, are you with us?
Islam family, I'm here. How you doing, fam?
All is well, man. Well, to say the least, all is well. You know, a lot of things come into the light. It's a lot to go in on tonight. First and foremost, just wanted to say thank you for sharing this information here for us to further analyze on. because there's some interesting times. I know you have a lot to say and going on. So, yeah, it was pretty interesting. Just reviewing the clip with Hillary, and of course, the way it was documented for the record. And I'll let you go on this, and I'll add on. That a Moorish brethren, nationalized, improper person, everything, was shot down by the highwaymen, the policy enforcers, the bandits. So, with that being said, there's a lot of revelations that go with that, as far as the sign of the times, and I think it was well said, bringing to light. They already misrepresented him, saying they was looking for a black suspect, and that man was not a Negro, black, or colored person. You know what I mean? And this is again too why family needs to know law. It's the truth. This is again why we need to know law, because when these types of things happen, and I'll explain or substantiate a little further in a little bit, we need to know what to do. Now, I know some people who are through and feel like it's only one remedy left, but in these times, it's a big signal. You know what I mean? It's just a big signal. Of course, you already know they misrepresent the stories and tell them in different formats how it necessarily may not have had happened. So you have to know the libel and the slander when you see that too. I mean, off top, just them calling you black is a strong enough libel or slander, And with that being said, I just want to take this quote from Behold the Pale Horse, page 272. And this is the Europeans speaking on themselves. It says, our countersign is force and make-believe. Only force conquers in political affairs, especially if it be concealed in the talents essential to statesmen. All right? And this is what I'm saying. Talk about statesmen, you're talking about, well, in the de jure aspect, you would be talking about a lawman. But in modern times, if you will, there goes your attorneys, the biased magistrates, etc., so-called statesmen operating in the name of the state. And when you go to the attorney type of thing, in all due respect, we already know the definition of impropria persona. And it's where, again, they put you back in an artificial jurisdiction. And that's just for the family, you know what I mean? Because some people will say, we're going to get an attorney, sue them, this, that, third. I mean, it's basically every week, another Moor, whether declared national or not, is getting murdered, by the same force, by the same energy, that exists on the land right now. So, with that said, as a national family, we definitely have to step up our mental as well, because we can already see what they're doing and where it's going. One thing, I'm going to just make this comment on the video of Hillary Clinton, and I'm going to yield the floor to you, that she said that the country still hasn't recovered, from their original sin. And I was looking at it like the words of Prophet Noble Drew Ali was in the forefront of my mind when she said sin. Because in the divine warning to the nations, he said it is a sin to violate the laws of a free national constitution. You know what I mean? Like, it is a sin to violate the Constitution. So I'm like, well, if you feel as though, that they haven't recovered from, quote, original sin, the only thing left to do is what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali already said, and enforce the Constitution. Respect it in a lot of these different things. And, I mean, there's going to be evil that slips through the cracks everywhere. But it needs to be like a higher standard, if you ask me, in my perspective from what's going on. It's nothing new, but it just needs to be a higher standard of morality and professionalism, if you will, because that's the biggest sin. One of the biggest sins, and it says it is a sin for any group of people, like not just Moors, but Europeans too, any group of people, to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the names and the principles that delude to slavery. That's Noble Ali, divine warning. So he left everybody a remedy, like through logic. If anybody is sincerely wondering what to do, Moor or European, it's not really brain science. So we on a different wave, because that's not what their intentions are. You know what I mean? And we can see that from their actions. So, with that being said, I'm going to just go back to quote this real quick. This is again from Behold the Pale Horse. It says, violence must be the principle, and cunning and make-believe the rule for governments which do not want to lay down their crowns at the feet of agents of some new power. This evil is the one and only means to attain the end, the good. This is them speaking, Europeans. It says, in politics, one must know how to seize the property of others without hesitation, if by it we secure submission and sovereignty. Like, so these are war tactics for submission and a gain of sovereignty for them, at least, in whoever, whatever. I don't know, it's crazy. But this is a background agenda. It's not by happenstance that all these Moors, just counting from last year alone, 2014 Gregorian calendar, not even 2015, all the Moors that passed this year, whether, again, they was proclaimed or not. Just saying the fact is they were still Moors. Like, this was a proclaimed Moor, and he still got it. You know what I mean? So it's something that's, I don't know. It's I guess it would be easy to say jealousy, but it's deeper than that. You know what I mean? It's not that. It's really not. It's an agenda. And I'm not even going to speculate on anything more or less than that. It's an agenda, and this is the proof right here. It says, on protocol number 2, it is indispensable for our purpose that war, so far as possible, should not result in territorial gains. War will thus be brought onto the economic ground, where the nations will not fail to perceive in the assistance we give the strength of our predominance. In this state of things will put both sides at the mercy of our quote-unquote international agentor our international agentor, which possesses millions of eyes ever on the watch and unhampered by any limitation whatsoever. It says our international rights will then wipe out national rights in the proper sense of right. And this is what it says, page 272 through 274. Behold the Pale Horse. So again, this is an agenda. This is not an accident. Like, this is really what's going down. It didn't take rocket science to see, just off of the analysis, again, from 2014 Gregorian calendar to 2015 Gregorian calendar. Give on just synopsis on that particular video. I know you have a lot to add on as well. So right now I'm going to respectively yield the floor to you, brethren. Islam. Islam, Noble. Oh, okay. I don't know if you're still there, but can you hear me? All right. Well, anyway, I hope I'm being heard. I trust I'm being heard, and I trust Cujo will kick in. Hold on. Here we go. Islam, Noble, you with us?
Islam, boy. Yeah, I'm with you. They were trying something.
Right. Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, yo. First with regard to well, first of all, Islam to all the Moors, peace, love, and hotep. With regard to the Clinton meeting, you know, we have to start using. We have to start using our people's incompetence against them, because it seems like Noble Drew Ali's prophecy that our people only learn at the point of a sword is real. You know what I mean? Like, you have these individuals who have a campaign that they've been pushing for quite some time right now. And nobody finds it interesting that the only time that, certain people are going to discuss your matters with you is when they're campaigning for some election. Like, they don't pick up on the fact that the only time that Negro, black, colored people get any attention from the so-called government that they're complaining about is during election time. The only time that the issue of black anything comes up is during election time.
True.
And not only are they taking the position of begging for some type of response from the colonizer, right? But they're not even going to the colonizer who's on the side of the government that the Constitution that all these people take an oath to uphold the form of government that's supposed to be in the Americas, specifically North America. How they want to question the Democrat when this is a Republican form of government? And they're not even trying to get Republicans in Spain. Why? Because they have their little nigger connection through Bill Clinton. You know what I mean? That's their black president's wife. Their first black president. Bill Clinton. Sax player. The black guy. The white guy who's a black guy that will vote for him because he's like the black guys. His wife is coming up now.
Black.
Right? Right? His wife is coming up now. Right? Yeah. His wife is coming up, and then they're asking her, who's black, to speak on Black Lives Mattering by people who aren't black. And when she gives a answer that's not, in harmony with where they are in their warped, incompetent mental capacity, they want to get mad and say she's not telling the truth and she's holding back stuff and she didn't give the real whatever. What real remedies or whatever could she give to stateless people who law does not apply to?
Indeed.
Right? Which leads again to the brother, the Moor, that got killed, who, we must add, more than likely wasn't with Moors that are really serious about Noble Drew Ali, because Noble Drew Ali told Moors, don't endanger your life with a fool. And they're saying that there was two suspects, and one of them was black, and one guy got shot, which was the Moor. So the black's on the run right now. Because remember, they were going after a black guy. So if they were going after a black guy that did some criminal activity, how is somebody who is getting off their job at FedEx getting shot, and the guy who they were going after escaped? everybody knows that the Moors need to be involved in order for anything to happen in the North Gate. There's, whether they're unconscious or conscious, the Moors have to be involved in anything happening in the North Gate. And because of the impact of the Moors, trust me, you're going to see some more bays getting shot up. Why? Because they need the Moors. They need the energy of the Moors in order to implement their plan. They need the Moors to be classified as Negro, black, colored people. Not the Moors that don't know about themselves, the Moors that know about themselves. This is a propaganda campaign to get Moors in those marching, picketing, protesting, whatever, under the banner of Black Lives Matter. Mark my words.
True. But you know what, though?
They want Moors under the banner of Black Lives Matter. Because guarantee, if you're out there marching and picketing or whatever, then you're not using your pen, which is the real weapon.
Right. Right. And in conjunction with that, bro, just for the record, on the note of Hillary Clinton, we have to keep in mind, too, I mean, she already told Moors, you know what I mean? Look, Morocco was the first nation to recognize us. What's next? You know what I mean? Like, she already said that.
The flags and everything. Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like it's good to question things, but also to look at what's already there because she said it. You know what I mean? Now, what does that mean in history is that, we were the first people to recognize the corporation United States. It's just that plain and simple. I mean, there's a lot of attributes that go with that. You know what I mean? Natural immunities, to say the least. But international law is the key. So I see what you're saying as far as, all right, well, let's move, or let's try to get people under something that it really doesn't apply. I can't say, anybody's life is less valuable because I understand, the black people are the York. So maybe to them, their lives do matter. I mean, I've heard it before, all that lives wants to live, but we're not black people. So that's the jurisdictional matter right there. So, yeah, indeed, that's definitely something to keep in mind and on mind is that, when we understand nationality, the info was already dropped and by Hillary Clinton. But it's not to say, people don't have anything else to say, but it's just that,
Islam. And secondary to that as well, with the shooting, the brother is a member of a Moorish Science Temple. That's a word that's out there, that he is a member.
Right.
So
absolutely.
My thing is now, are we looking at, where's the source story really coming from, right? Because all that I'm hearing them refer to him as is commonly known as naming the street. When they talk to people, when they say that they interview people, nobody's not talking about, oh yeah, Brother Bey was whatever, or Brother Bey. They're calling him by a nickname. Which means that if these people that they're interviewing are credible, and they're not referring to him as his free national name, they're referring to him as a nickname. We have to ask really what's going on, because I don't know anymore national, free national, that does not relinquish nicknames, slave names, whatever other name, to make sure that they address you in your free national name when they address you.
Word. Wow.
There's Moors younger than him that we know that are Moors, that they're going to tell you their name is whatever Bey, whatever L. You know, say, oh yeah, my nickname is Tiny or whatever. You know, you have Noble Drew Ali telling the Moors, you know, like let's just say this brother is a dues-paying, card-carrying member of the temple. Drew Ali told the Moors, don't endanger your life with a fool. There's Moors that we know that are, you know, older men and women that they endanger their life with fools all the time because all they know is Negro, black, colored people. And ain't nothing happened to them. There's Moors who are putting out information that they should be getting assassinated or whatever. Ain't nobody going after them. So why is it that they go after this individual? Right? Why is it that this is the same place where stuff initially kicked off, St. Louis, Missouri, and this Moorish Science Temple that's there wasn't mentioned even back then. Like they're saying Moorish Science Temple, he's a member of that. They have people who are members of that temple that are talking about this individual. What it reminds me of is, it reminds me of the guy who everybody in the hood knows was the killer, but then at the funeral, they're talking about, you know, he used to go to church and stuff like that. And he was a good boy, and he was whatever, when he was, you know, one of the thugs on the block, robbing people's grandmothers and stuff like that. So we have to broaden our perspective because the assault is on the Moors right now, whether it's psychological, emotional, economic, social, whatever. If you say that you're free national, you're Moorish American, know that it's on right now. Target's on us right now. Because we've been playing around with this birthright for 100 years. And we thought nothing's going to come to us because, you know, we're Moors. No, don't get it twisted. Because Jolly told all of us Moors that he's going to let the fire scorch even the good Moors.
Mm-hmm.
Even the good Moors are going to get some flames. Why? Because everybody dropped the ball at least once. And that's coming back around, that ball that you dropped. That's why Jolly said, if you're ready, stay ready. If you're not ready, you better get ready ASAP.
Indeed. Because on the political level, on the national level, like that says a lot. You know, going back even back into the history with the on the federal level type of thing, like you know, it's a lot that they know about the Moorish Science Temple history. Some people might not even know type of thing. Like they got papers, etc., things like that. And when you look at the people who have been being murdered lately, like you said, they're not saying, you know, there's no Bey, there's no ill, there's nobody claiming. I mean, I'm not saying nobody, but if reflecting in any fashion that they was associated or acknowledge their Moorish nationality. Some, yes, it could happen to anybody, but I'm just saying the one I was looking at, it refers to the brethren as Mansour Ball Bey, 18.
Yeah.
Mansour Ball Bey. And it's like they do it all the time. They don't really know, and they don't really care. They shoot first and ask questions later, type of thing. And then it's like, well, we got the blood of a free national on their hands now, because the claim is there. You know what I mean? They might try to avoid it a certain way and treat it like a Negro black colored situation. But I mean, when we look back on this, like, I mean, we know now. But just like they was documenting things in the 1920s, 30s, they got papers from those times. You know, this is going to reflect something, like a change. Something has to, Moors have to wake up from this. Like, something has to happen now. Like, but I can't, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anybody else's life was less valuable. But when you have a title, you know, Bey, Il, Day, Al, Ali, it says something in international law. That's what I'm saying. It's a different circumstance for the record, at least. You know what I mean? For the record, at least.
Islam. And they're posting it now. Another attack that we have to be wary of is when things are presented and we don't completely check what's being presented for ourselves, because we think different than average individual out there. You know what I mean? Majority of people who sent that thing to me are the so-called Negro black color people who are talking about, see, nationality doesn't do nothing. You still get shot up with a nationality. So I already know that's true.
That is true.
They're getting their minds even more detached from being a Moor now. Because we're not even just talking about, Moors get arrested now. We're talking that Moors actually got shot up or whatever, just because they said Bey. In the article. Now, on a higher level, his name's Mansour.
True.
Right? And Al-Mansour is one of the... Mansour is one of the Moors that kicked the Europeans' ass in war in the 900s. Right?
True.
I think it's Battle of Torre something or whatever. Mansour. They got a big statue of him in Spain. So they know that they can't touch the Moors. So they touch the Moors psychologically by assassinating somebody with the name of a Moor that was prominent. They killed a Moor with a name that was specific to what's going on. The war between the Romans and the Muslims, which is a war that hasn't ever ended. The war that's still going on right now. And they know that they can't get at the Moors. Like I'm saying, if they really wanted to get at the Moors, right? Some of these people that we call master teachers or whatever would be getting killed if they want to get at the Moors. Because really, as Illuminati, Rothschilds, whoever, they know that it's about the information. They know that it's about stop the information from coming out. Forget the individual. The individual doesn't mean nothing. Stop the information. If this individual is speaking something that is going to wake people up, then they should be taken out, just like they did with Behold the Pale Horse, William Cooper, just like they did with everybody else who put out information. So there's a pause right now right? There's a pause right now because you have a situation where you already know that, Moors are or have adopted a passive approach from a civic perspective. So with this happening, more than likely, the Moors in the jurisdiction where this happened aren't going to deal with this how it should be dealt with, based on that being a free national that got taken out, assassinated. For whatever reason, doesn't matter. Point is that he's a free national. And the jurisdiction of Moorish Science Temple of America, which they're saying he's a member of, is supposed to be a regency.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was about to say. The pressure is really on Moors now to do something like, you know what I mean? All of those, Moors who were saying, those are those Moors that know law and deal with law. We just trying to read the Quran on our Friday meeting type of thing. Like, now everybody is on that, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, because people have been taking that passive approach, like, knowing that these are Moors, whether declared or not, they say, they wasn't declared nationals, so they got what they deserve. Well, this is a declared national, now what? Moors. It's good. I mean, because it's like every time something happens, that's the excuse, and it's true. Negro black colored status is not beneficial. I mean, anybody could get shot. Every nation been to war just about. So it's nothing new. You know what I mean? Anybody could fall like that. You know what I mean? But
right.
At this particular point, all of the Moorish bodies that have been dropped, at gunshot wounds by police, and all the Moors that were saying, it's whatever because they wasn't nationalized, now they got one. You know what I mean? What's up now type of thing. Like, did one for the record. You know what I mean? This is what they reported. Mansour Bey and said he's a member of the Moorish Science Temple. So Moors in and out the temple. You know what I mean? If this is not a wake-up call of the reality of what's really going on, I don't know what else to say, fam. You know what I mean? Like, because it is what it is now. Like, so something has to come out of this. Either it's going to get worse or there's going to be improvements. With that, it was an article that was talking about, when the policy enforcers approach somebody, pardon me, I can't quote this verbatim, but I trust it will be discussed. It was going in on, certain documents when the policy enforcers approach you. They have to mark out these circumstances of why. Was it anything based off of nationality or, what was the probable cause? All of these things have to be amended, to any document they try to serve anybody. And things are going to have to be exposed a little more, I'm not saying people still won't lie about their approach. You know what I mean? They might just say, that's a Moor. How, why look so whatever? He's not supposed to have that or she's not supposed to have that. These are, you know what I mean, according to their perspective, to their standard of what they think of us type of thing. And that's not all Europeans, don't get me wrong. But for the most part, whatever we rise, it's like a failure to their agenda that we were speaking from earlier. Because they waged the economic war or financial war, all of that. So, they're not too thrilled to see that they could be losing in multiple arenas of the war that they waged. It's not like, they just wanted to be ruled. Like, no, they waged chaos, and yeah, to say the least. That's not the only Moorish body that dropped, but just for the record, it's a different situation, I would say, man. So now that temple was carved out based off of the situation, and see what happened. I really trust that they are dealing with law, you know what I mean, as far as administrating the affairs of the now after the incident. So I just, trust with that. So yeah, Moor.
And as well too, don't forget that we're looking at like a few weeks from the anniversary of Mike Brown. This is not just happening just because right now.
Right.
Mike Brown just happened a year ago. And then all they could do in promotion of Mike Brown, ever since he got shot, go check the record, they keep showing him in the green gown with the green fez and the red sash, or the red shawl, or the red whatever draped around him.
Wow.
And a year later, an actual Moor gets shot in the same place that Mike Brown was shot.
Mhm.
And then it's the same, it comes back to the same stuff again, rioting and all that stuff. Or when that's not so a year's gone, and people, you guys still don't get it. It's still Black Lives Don't Matter and Hands Up Don't Shoot. It's still that.
Right.
So remember they had a year now. So let's look at this from perspective of, surveillance. If they're going to plan, right, to do this thing again in a year, and all these people aren't changing their conditions, it would be easy to pinpoint anybody, especially try to find a Moor who's not really on the square like he's supposed to be on the square, so they could have any excuse to run his name throughout the whatever, just like they're doing right now with guns and the cocaine. They found cocaine, they found guns and all this stuff. You know what I mean? No different than Sandra Bland, that they assassinate her, and then they have in the video some different lady who doesn't even fit her body size or whatever. Obviously, that's not her. But these people have this game that they play because they know that they're dealing with incompetent people.
Right.
They know that we're so hardwired to fiction that we're not even going to accept the reality. We're so convinced that Black Lives Matter that when Black lives really don't matter, because there's no such thing as black people, we're still not going to get it. And I'm saying it's a year, 2 weeks, right?
True.
That it happened to Mike Brown. Same Missouri with Dred Scott. Same Missouri with the Bay of Missouri, who went to Turkey and went to Morocco and all these places as a Moor. It's a sign of the times, especially for Moors. Like Juali said, if you're not ready, you better get ready.
Absolutely.
Like if you're not ready, forget about, forget about trying to claim stuff. Forget about claiming stuff. Right? Forget about trying to exercise right to travel. Forget about trying to discharge debts or whatever. Get this information to our people. Because remember, without Negro, black, colored people nationalizing, there's no Moorish nation that the world is going to respect. There has to be an attempt made by Moors. There has to be an attempt made by Moors to redeem these people. If there's no attempt made, then we appear to be down with the fraud because we're not attempting to get them out of the fraud.
Word. That's true. That's why we suffer right now.
Certain things shouldn't be happening. Certain things shouldn't be going on. It shouldn't even be a thought that certain things are going to happen. And the only reason that they're happening is because we're out of order. Moors are throwing this thing off course. Europeans just picking up the pieces. That's not something that they implement. They implemented our failure and how to take advantage after we fail. They didn't defeat us. Moors defeated themselves.
True.
And it's a repetitive theme. It's a repetitive theme.
You could definitely be
our
own worst
enemy. You know?
Learn more? Yeah.
Because there should be, really and truly, you know, at that event, you know, at that murder happening, that jurisdiction that Moor domiciles in, the Moor Science Temple heads should have had their press conference already to address this.
Indeed.
You know the news is going to show up.
Say that again?
Because you know that the news is going to show up.
Absolutely.
If the Moors say that they're having a press conference with regard to this shooting, you know that the news is going to show up.
Yeah.
If the black guys could say we're gonna stand here and yell whatever, and the news is gonna show up, trust me, if Moors are gonna have a press conference about the shooting of one of the citizens of Moorish America, news will show up. But it has to be the Moors for that jurisdiction, because this is a jurisdictional issue. This is a jurisdictional issue. That's why every temple has divine constitution and bylaws, because they're supposed to make up their own laws.
Right, I was about to say, that goes back to what you were saying about Moors throwing it off course. The structure was set up for government. You know what I mean? Sheik, Grand Sheik, Assistant Grand Sheik, shall I say, you know, all of that is governmental function. So, understanding international law and Noble Drew Ali already saying, like, look, the application of the 14th and 15th Amendment is not necessary for the salvation of my people and the citizens. Therefore, you already know the diversity. So, it's international law right there. Just like it was saying in this book, Behold the Pale Horse, they wanted their international rights to wipe out national rights. Well, that's why nationality is the order of the day, because we have a nationality. So there's an international platform for proclaimed and declared Moors as well. You know, but without the nationality, you already know it's no international type of argument. You know, it goes back to protesting for Black Lives Matter type of thing. So just got to know the platform. There's multiple courts, you know, tennis court, courtyards, you know, and buildings, basketball courts, all different types of courts. You got to know, you know, which one to meet on for certain situations, you know. that being said, man, that's the law. There it is. It's an international platform already, to say the least.
Islam. But we want Moors to look at this situation and to really consider what is the cause. Why a Moor? You have all these shootings happen. All of a sudden, they shoot a Moor, right? But it's not clear. You know what I mean? Because they're saying that, he works for FedEx. All right, well, if he works for FedEx, he just might have a license. Now, he has RVBey on a license, which is a corporate instrument, then technically he's in the jurisdiction. Especially if you don't know civics, and you don't know how to live within contracts, and you didn't reserve your rights on that instrument. Because jurisdiction is going to be assumed if you don't make a claim.
True.
And in color, where we are, because they said that this happened in state of, city of. So we're talking about jurisdictional issues that aren't being dealt with. And again, it comes from the individuals who claim to have the information and are supposed to be presenting it.
Right.
But if you don't, if you have a situation where you're not taught civics, then how are you gonna know? You figure you could just hang out with niggers, and you're not even thinking about guilty by association.
Right.
When you could be guilty by association. You could get shot up by association if you were the wrong color in the wrong area or whatever. Zaldi said to the Moors, think and save yourself. And many Moors have knowledge, but they don't think.
Right.
Many Moors think that they're being taught to think when they're not being taught to think.
Indeed. So look at that.
And
now, in conjunction with the brother getting shot, I just feel it imperative to quote Article 21 of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. It says, if a citizen of the United States should kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, if a Moor shall kill or wound a citizen of the United States, which clearly lets you know what? Moors are not citizens of the United States. It's diversity. The law of the country shall take place, and equal justice shall be rendered. The counsel assisting at the trial, and if any delinquent shall make his escape, the counsel shall not be answerable for him in any manner whatever. So there's already the protocol, you know what I mean, for due process of law for these, quote, United States citizens who are really Europeans supporting their corporation against the natural people, Moors. That's really what it is. The citizen of the United States should kill or wound a Moor. There's already provisions for that.
Islam. Oh, you know, right. Again, right? Again, comes back to that thing that, you know, on this show, in these classes, we're civic-minded Moors. So we know about treaties and constitutions and supreme laws of the land. That's supposed to be common amongst all Moors. That's supposed to be the document or the documents that are enforced when there's violations. And matter of fact, if those things were enforced from the get-go, there would be no violations because it's an established fact that we're not citizens. Like Judge Scott proved that. Same place where all this stuff is going on. So it doesn't matter if a black guy gets shot or if a Moor gets shot. Nationality is still the order of the day. Not because a Moor shot means that, nationality is not the order of the day anymore because, nationality doesn't stop bullets. Nationality is even more so the order of the day right now. Because the truth of the matter is that we receive whatever violations we receive more than likely because we violated some universal principles that has now trickled down to the earth plane, and now we're getting our judgment for it. If you have a group of Moors and they have a prophet and the prophet dies, and those people say, I don't have nothing to do with Moors anymore. Right? I don't want nothing to do with Moors anymore, but I'm going to still have my bey and go around as their bey and have children and have children and have children. And the more generations that are born, the less they know about Noble Drew Ali and what the Moorish movement is. They're not Earls and Beys. They're Negroes with Bey on their name. Because there's no way that you're born free national and you have no knowledge of civics. You have no knowledge of universal laws that you have to really be mindful in these days and times about who you're around. Because being around the wrong energy would get you killed out here nowadays. Being in the wrong place and the wrong time is real right now. Because we have so much karmic debt that we never cleared up. That's now coming back on us in our free national position, where we shouldn't be receiving any universal justice. Because everything's supposed to be square. Everything's supposed to be straightened out. Drew Ali took away all the secrets, got assassinated so the Moors could have something. And we're still struggling? Right. This must be our own stuff that we're getting then. That's nobody's fault. Everybody's doing what they used to do. Europeans still are colonists. He's not doing nothing different.
Right.
The same pattern. He never changed himself to do anything. He's doing the same thing that he's been doing. Colonize the planet. Like, I know Moors. I know Moors that work, that have a job or whatever, that don't get shot up when they get stopped, that don't have any issues. You know what I mean? This is a deliberate attack on Moors. The Moors better get their stuff together.
Indeed, no. But before I was having some difficulties, but I missed some of what you were saying, but I hear you more.
All good, Moor.
Definitely set in place. And the protocol is there, like you was emphasizing. Treaty of Peace and Friendship, you know, and these are the protocols because we're not Negro, Black, colored people or 14th Amendment citizens. But listen, Moor, the lines are lit right now.
For real. Let's go in
here.
Let's get them.
All right, so we're going to start opening up the lines to some of the callers and further enhance the class. All right, caller 804-921. Caller 804-921. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Yes, sir. Islam. Yeah, I'm listening, man. Y'all got me so fired up. I said, okay, let me calm down a little bit because you actually hit on my brother with that the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, and I was going over it as you were talking, you know, and I was just ready to say that, you know, I myself don't know exactly where council is at right now, but I will hope that council is in chambers, getting things together, just ready to bust this thing out. The other portion, I think that the brother talked about was Sandra. The video, we're talking about the same video. I watched that video, and just like you said, a lot of people are not conscious, but that video was actually a video from Florida, and you can actually see the Florida police emblem. You know, the actual word. It said Florida police. So a lot of people were commenting on it, and they wasn't even conscious of it. I was like, this thing says Florida. You know, so,
wow.
Brother, you're right. You're absolutely right. Nobody's conscious. I mean, what happened to her? She was in Texas. You know, so you're absolutely right. Like I said, I'm just fired up, man. Like I said, council, I hope the council is listening. I hope they're getting things together because, yeah, this is not acceptable. And I yield the floor, my brother. I yield the floor.
Islam Noble. Thank
you for your input, Mark. Appreciate that.
Indeed. Right. We're going to go to the next caller. Caller 510-334. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam
Noble.
Peace, Mark.
Yeah. I was just listening to the show and enjoying it. When I was trying to convince someone that was unconscious, and they were talking about the young lady that got shot, I said, show me a Moor that got shot. And this was like maybe a week or maybe 2-3 weeks ago that I said this, because I follow Cujo as well. But then this happened, and I'm not shaken because, you know, like you're saying, there's the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, and people, this happens all the time. Not necessarily this, but people do get shot. And I'm one of those that have good encounters with enforcement, and I guess I'll just yield from there. And I just wanted to express that somehow. I don't know if I was successful in doing so. Oh, and I'm Anthony Bay.
Islam, Moor.
Also, I just want to add on, like, this is why you also have to be careful what you ask for. You know what I mean? Like, if you, like, you know, you feel both, like, you can't show me a boy that got shot, now it happened. You know what I mean? Or show me a boy that got shot, and the universe show you. You know what I mean? You have to sometimes consider what was you asking for. You know what I mean? Like, because it's not your fault, don't get me wrong, but certain thought waves vibrate and correlate on the higher fault. You get it? Like, the universe will show you what you thought it couldn't. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Because every word you speak goes into the air, which is all around everybody. So when you summons, you know what I mean, a proof for something like that, sometimes it'll just come right back. So now you can't doubt, yes, anybody can get it or not. Matter of fact, it was provisions made in case it did happen. You know what I mean? Like for more international law. So I'm just saying consider that too, because I know that has happened to me before, not on that level, but you ask for something like, show me this, show me that, and you get shown it. It could be information you wanted to find out or anything. You know, it's a summons. So, yeah, we also got to be careful with the words we select. I just wanted to emphasize that, too. You know, it really does make a difference. That, bro, I really just want to thank you for your call. We thank you for your call. And we're going to take the next caller, family.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.
Caller 316-848. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Greetings.
Peace,
Peace,
boy. Islam Noble, did you want to add on a comment, question, revelation?
Islam, am I on?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. I wanted to talk about jurisprudence and the spirit of law. I just wanted to reiterate how this is as much of this is like a spiritual war as much as it is a physical and mental war. And just at these times right now, getting in our being adamant about wanting to be spiritual. That's where the protection is from, and that's just what I wanted to add.
Indeed. So yeah, better yet, like in tune with the universe and the energy. You know, being in tune with the universe and the energy, which all is spirit or air or breath or whatnot. So yeah, absolutely. And you know, an aspect of jurisprudence is the ability to foresee. And,
right on.
You know what I mean? So that goes multiple branches of metaphysics, or what some people call spirituality, or law. You know what I mean? Because that's what the law is inspired from. So yeah, the jurisprudence, the ability to foresee, like mostly all people who deal with law have to have that quality of jurisprudence, or all lawful legal documents or whatnot. It has to have jurisprudence in it in some form or fashion. I say that like perfect example, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, Article 21. We just was going in on that as far as what the protocol is. If a Moor shall kill a citizen of the United States or a citizen of the United States, he shall kill the Moor. You know what I mean? They already knew it was a possibility and secured a clause in the treaty for that. That's jurisprudence. You know what I mean? It goes deeper than that, don't get me wrong, but that's an aspect of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Provisional. So, yeah, man, definitely.
Right on. Well, I appreciate this platform you all got going. Y'all keep doing y'all thing, and I'm over here. I'm going to take care of business so that we all may meet each other on the inside one of these days.
Islam, Moor.
Islam, no.
Islam.
Right. Calling in with that. Okay. What up, Bob? All right. Well, all right.
And then a quick comment with regard to jurisprudence as well, that jurisprudence is a science that treats positive law. So any law that is negative in nature, jurisprudence won't apply.
Right.
So you're only going to get remedy when it's It's the source of law. You're not gonna get seek to get help from somebody that's crippled. Right? Because they're not going to be able to give you the assistance in their full capacity because they're crippled.
Right.
Your negative law is crippled law. So don't expect to get right out of it. You know, which goes back to jurisdiction. That the jurisdiction better not be city of or state of when you're making your claim. Because there's no remedy there. That's why the state law and anything below that has to be in harmony with the Constitution, or it doesn't have any standing at law. So when we get into these situations, remember that if you're looking for positive results, they're going to have to be in a positive jurisdiction to administer the due process that is required. Colored jurisdiction is not going to give due process. Right. You know, they'll continue to violate it. Right?
Yeah. Especially when they're trying to enchant somebody to make a quote appearance for a venue that does not have jurisdiction. That's a violation of your First Amendment right to peacefully assemble. Because if they don't have jurisdiction and they're trying to adjudicate, that's an unlawful assembly. And if it's unlawful, it's not peaceful. You know what I mean? So, like, that's still goes back to the First Amendment jurisprudence. You know, like, that clause says a lot. The right to peacefully assemble. If it's not lawful, you know, then it's a violation of that peaceable assemblage right to come together, you know. It's not. So I yield the floor with that.
Islam.
Brothers?
Yeah, peace, Mark.
Oh, okay. Right on.
No, he's there.
Good.
I think Miz got dropped.
Huh?
No, I think Miz got dropped.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know I was still on.
No, I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
I apologize. Right, so with that being said, we're going to take our next caller. Oh, hold on. Pardon me. Peace and love, man. Live on the air. Are you with us?
I sure am. I'm with you, and I'm listening. This is just wonderful stuff in that you guys are hitting it where it involves the protocols. The treaty now must be acknowledged by all who say they're Moorish, you know, rather than it being in the background. The fact is, you all have mentioned where the prophet said we wouldn't do anything except put at the point of the sword. Could y'all mention that? This is where it's at. The fact that, in fact, what will Moors do? Like, for instance, could you made a great point as well regarding the fact that, well, we're the Moors, particularly and especially from the temples, that are going to call for a press release because the national has been murdered as such. You see? To make the international a call and to enforce the treaty, which you so eloquently, brothers, you so eloquently brought out clearly there are two jurisdictions going on. But our people have missed that in their sleep. It clearly says that in the treaty. It clearly shows there is a diversity of citizenship. So you can't continue to try to be a citizen. It's like you can't be a national, claim a national, and then do quasi-national stuff. It's just, it's still sleep. Not woke up at all. So I do also see how, with this strategy that is being utilized, they're like, all right, let's see if the Moors are really, really going to stick on their international and national venue. That means calling all temple leaders, grand sheiks, whatever, because check this, all people, not just grand sheiks, because we're not Moors whether or not we're there or not. But see, here's the thing. In the past, their excuse has been, well, they're not a member, they're not really a Moor. Oh, no. Now what? Are they still going to say that? Again, and even if they did or they did not, it's more for the people to wake up and recognize, and I think by you guys bringing it out tonight, that there is a diversity of citizenship that is not something new, but has always existed. Even though we did not fail, most people fail to recognize it. So I affirm, support the simple sentence. Moors, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. The sword and the point of the sword has just begun to penetrate. Islam, peace and love.
Islam, for the vibration. Love. Indeed. So that's that being said, we're going to go to our next caller. Caller 803-778. You're live on the air. You with us, Tim?
Islam, peace and love, brothers. How are y'all today? I like to compliment you, brothers, on what you're doing, and our sisters. I have one question. I am green at this, and I have been studying for the last 6 months, and I still have a long way to go. I have two questions for you. I turned in my paperwork for my appellation, and it's been almost a month.
All right, what you're going to do is send an email to MHHS, Eyes Wide Open, or GSNAMA@gmail.com.
Could you repeat that a little slower? My phone was cracking up, please.
Pardon me, Moor. Can you hear me there?
Yeah, my phone is cracking up. It's been doing it for a couple of days. Could you just do it slower so I can catch it all, please?
All right. This is what I'll do. Okay. I'll make sure that I'm writing your number down now.
Okay.
And I'll make sure to contact you to get your information and give you the other information you need necessary to check in on that. But you can send it to email MHHSeyeswideopen@gmail.com and GSNAMA7@gmail.com.
Got that. Okay, you're going to be calling tonight or tomorrow?
More than likely, I might briefly speak to you tonight, but
great.
Definitely tomorrow. I'll make sure I get your information right. And what is your appellation?
Morning would be a great time for me. What is my appellation? Okay. Noble Clifton Bay.
All right. Have you. All right, no problem. Yeah, more, and definitely have your information here. So you said the morning would be better, and
exactly. Anytime after 8 will be better. Okay. I want to thank you guys again, man. I've been listening for a long time. This is not my first time on, and outstanding. I got one other question. I have my VA that's pending, and I noticed the sister was talking about quasi crossing that line. I want this so bad.
Who that's pending?
My VA.
Oh, all right.
Okay, I don't I don't even care. I'd rather be a free man. Honestly, I'd rather be a free man. But would this put me, say, straddling in the fence?
I don't know all the details in the contracts that you signed with them, so I can't, make any other conclusion besides you would have to study, get your proper person right, and I don't know. There's definitely a diversity, but you would have to make the best choice for you. But you would definitely need to study more. You know what I mean, and understand the rights that you have as far as getting in your proper person, understanding the different Supreme Court decisions that support that position. You know what I mean? Like, so that in any of your affairs, because it's been well settled that an adult can change his appellation at will as long as it's not for a fraudulent purpose. So as long as your purpose is not fraudulent, which getting in your proper person is not a fraudulent purpose at all, you have that right. It's just a matter of you knowing it and exercising it and being confident and affirmed in your position. Like, that's really what it's about. So, however and whatever, contracts you are making, I can't speak for that, but you should definitely know your position and your rights, so that you don't have to, like, straddle the fence about it.
No, I don't want to do that.
But I would study more, you know what I mean, get more into, just look up everything you can about common law name correction, things of that nature. So whatever you do, when you assert your free national self, if that's what you really align with and have your allegiance at, you're affirmed in your position, no matter what anybody else says. And if you get a chance to document it, you can have a load of references, for your position. So that's really what it is, because you can only be what you know. If you know you have the right to be who you say you are, that's something you will have to. It's your sojourn, like, in life. I don't know about all the contracts, so I don't want to give you any wrong advice except for to study. And there's a lot of information out there. You know what I mean?
Okay, great. I'm from the Corporation of South Carolina, and I have been, the little that I have grasped and I'm holding in the Constitution, the amendments, so on and so forth. I've been putting it out there as if it was a cup of Kool-Aid that everybody wanted to drink. There's a lot of us here that are getting battered, kidnapped for things that are simply nonsense, just to support this corporation.
Right.
Once again, peace and love, brothers and the sisters that comes on, outstanding. I'm glad. This is where my allegiance at. I yield the floor.
Islam, Moor. Thank you for your call, man.
Yeah, and there's one thing to put out there, because I hear Mother Anaid in my ear right now, that you're not from the corporate state.
Right, so, indeed.
Okay.
You're from Northwest Mexico.
Okay, I understand.
And you're at the corporate state.
Yes. I'm at the corporate.
Right. That's for clarity. Yeah, that's for clarity, because I heard the ear thing going on.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad here. They're. Are you still with me? No.
Yeah.
They just put the gentleman, the European, they want to give him the death sentence. I think anyone that the so-called police that just kills a man for a GP, they should get the death sentence. If it's just one, shouldn't be done. And with that, I yield the floor.
Yeah, that's the supreme law of the land.
Yes.
The treaty.
Yes, it is.
You know what I mean? If you wound them more, kill them more, you got something coming. It would be interesting, though. It would be interesting to see if, even, Attorney General, President, somebody, just gives that guy the death penalty for violating his everything. It would be interesting to see.
Have to take the life before to get it.
Let's say he gets the death penalty. Let's say he gets it. Does that mean that people are going to proclaim their nationality now? Because that'll prove that, they're not they didn't deal with any Negro, black, other people like that.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see what goes down with the so-called officer that did this, the highwayman, the mercenary. It would be interesting.
Absolutely.
Because we know right now he's off with paid leave or whatever already. We already know that. Because they look after their own before they throw them under the bus.
This is true. This is true.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's definitely on that level. There's no denying it. You know what I mean? The brethren had they on this appellation. So it's nothing to even talk about. You know what I mean? You already know the protocol. And in all reality, the Attorney General definitely has a responsibility to that in American law. Definitely in American law. So, yeah, this is definitely a calling to enforce that Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Not that there's not other reasons, but, there's perfect clauses for situations like this. And that's why I was saying it's important for families to know the law because this is the protocol. It's the diversity, ASAP. So now there's the protocol. But, indeed, the death penalty, though, there's a lot of reasons that somebody could get sentenced to death in law. You know what I mean? That's the penalty of treason. That. So, instead of calling it the death penalty, it's something else called the penalty of treason. So they say, we're going to give you the death penalty. But, like you said, you want to see one of them get it.
Yes.
It's really just the exercise of just, enforcing the constitutional violation of treason. That's really what it is, instead of arguing the death penalty, because that is the penalty. You know what I mean?
Yes, and from the way they stand, they should be more scrutinized than any.
Yeah, absolutely.
To protect and serve.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to yield the floor and let someone else get it. Once again, you guys don't get enough for Dattle Boy for all that you do. I listen to the blog constantly. I came in late tonight. I just want to say more power to you and thank you one more again.
All right. Thank you, bro. We appreciate it.
Peace, Moor.
Peace.
All right. That being said, bro, we're going to go to the next caller. Caller 214-565. You're live on the air. Are you with us? 214-565. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
It's on. All praise to Allah. Islam.
Bro.
Islam. All praises to you, Miss Ram and Cujo. You're having a great show. Islam, I heard my sister, she called in and had several points. And it was short, but it was straight to the point. We must remember, I'm reading now the Holy Quran, and I'm starting at verse 16. It says, the sin lies in the wish, in the desire, not in the act. You covet other people's wealth. You look at charming form and deep within your heart you lust for them. Deceit you practice every day and wish for gold, for honor, and for fame, just for your selfishness. The man who covets is a thief, and she who lusts is a covetous. You who are none of these, speak out, as I heard earlier. Moors, those who know the law, those who know how to write writs, those words, those need to come up, as Noble Jew Ali told us, stand up on your square. But as verse 20 said, nobody spoke. The accuser held their place. I would like to say we're still under, and they have been regulated by the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. But we must remember that the corporate officers are still pertaining and using force under Nancino Constantinople hegemony via the Spanish Inquisition of 1215, enforced by the Secret Treaty of Verona of 1215, the Doctrine of Discovery, the Christian Black Codes of 1724, the Negro Act, the 14th Amendment of 1868. They still see us as artificial persons and strong persons. We're dead in the eyes of the law. But we are more. We are more. This is our land. When you violate on the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, you must be held consequences. Islam, more. Keep the good work up. Islam.
Islam, Noble. Thank you for that, bro.
Islam.
Indeed. And none of them spoke out. That's up. Hold up. Right, so with that being said, we're going to take our next caller. Caller 917-982. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam, brother.
Islam.
Islam, sis.
I was deeply bothered by the article I read about the brother who was killed. And the only thought that came to mind, in my mind, at that point in time was not only as far as you say, and, you know, it trickled down to the earth plane, but also you have to realize, I guess I have to see for myself, and also as far as those that I am around, that fear runs rampant around us all the time. And, you know, for people who are newly learning and just now becoming conscious, they see these things and become fearful. And I just feel that as a newly learning person, a natural person, someone who's indigenous to this land, I feel that we should not allow things like this to induce fear, you know, and realize that there are things in place to deal with these situations. But I also believe truly that as far as what Noble Drew Ali said is in studying, will let us know that regardless to whatever, justice will be done, regardless to however we feel. And to remember that he also said that we should not get angry, that the first principle is love. So regardless to whatever happens, we all have to still be united. And my question, I have one question, and my question would be, you know, in situations like this, when you're dealing with the children, because my thing is I hide nothing from my children. I always tell them everything. How do you deal with these type of situations when it comes to discussing these things with our young ones?
As far as, like, quote, the situation with the brethren that just got murdered type of situation.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, well, the protocol is right there in the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. It's just a matter of invoking it as peers, basically as noble peers of a national, you know, and it's really the only way to go about it because, I mean, the attorney's not going to argue that, but again, this is why, you know, certain things were set up in place. You know, an ancient form of Operation Noble Dry Lee left as an example for us all on the structure of government. You know what I mean? Like those who, and don't get me wrong, because, yeah, it's their responsibility, but if we see that it's not going down like that, it also becomes people's responsibility too, because we know, and I'm not saying this particular temple or anything like that, but I'm just saying that we know for the most part there's a lot of omissions going on as far as duty, you know what I mean? And this was the point of a grand sheik, one of them, you know, the point of an assistant grand sheik, the point of a mufti, etc. Like, these were for these positions, these titles of nobility, like these stations, you know, or Moorish governmental functions, really, you know. We have to get back to that aspect of it because it shouldn't even be a question. Grand Sheik got to call the next order, and he has to be in order. She has to be in order. Either way, you know, in that particular society of how it's going down, you know, but that's what's supposed to happen. There's supposed to be actions, you know, summons to meet, you know, and again, like I said, there was courtyards, and now granted, state is a party, so you already know in a certain aspect because of their shield or whatnot. So you already know it's going to be heard if at any tribunal neutral, it will be the Supreme Court. But it's actually on a higher international level than that, really. You know what I mean? Like, really. So, again, it's just understanding government and summonses. Like, people should be summoned, and equal justice shall be served, you know? If it's treasonous, then it is what it is. But it's really just about activating what's already there, you know? The tools was left. You know, you use a hammer to hit a nail, and basically that's all it is, using the hammer to drive this nail home till it's a part of every part. That's the truth. So, yeah, I mean, but first and foremost, different councils will have to assemble. That would be the first thing. What's the next move? I mean, everybody knows, but it still should be like a coordinate assemblage first,
right.
Not like going and marching and praying. Like, all right, well, you know, everybody will be assigned their duty. The 12 jurors will be picked. You know what I mean? The mufti to serve or judge the situation will be elected or selected, or, you know what I mean, recognized as, okay, this is the head mufti who's going to reach a Mohammedan decision, because that's the point of the mufti. A mufti is a Mohammedan judge as well as security. You know what I mean? So the mufti would make the decree. The grand sheik would definitely set these things in order, or make sure that action is initiated and, you know, according to the laws, you know, and the customs. So, yeah, this is a part of the function of that process that may be missing, you know. So, again, it goes back to what Cujo was saying earlier. You know, we need to just make sure we understand this information so that we can act and justice served. So, yeah, all the grand chiefs, everybody, like, that should be next up on the list. The council must convene, like, it has to assemble. If somebody's going to do something about it, you know what I mean? I don't know if what those Moors in that area are doing now, but it wouldn't hurt for Moors from everywhere to reach out and extend any support that they can. You know what I mean? Because whether we recognize it or not, we say we a nation. As a nation, we all just got shot an international situation. Like
it's so funny.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's so funny because, you can feel when something is not right. You know what I'm saying? Just as being connected, you can feel when something is not right. So, by it being in the air that something just didn't feel, right. And then when you come and you see something like this, you pretty much answered my question because I was not clear of what the protocol and everything was, and I ended up joining the call a little late, so I missed a few things. But you pretty much answered my question because I was kind of, at a loss because like I said, I study. I put a lot of time into studying because that's just something that I enjoy doing. And getting the knowledge from those who are more knowledgeable than I am, it helps me see a little more, and it makes me just want to get in my books a little bit more because, these things are important as far as bringing up children and them knowing, you know what I'm saying, as a mother, knowing what is said in, like, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship and how it correlates with the Constitution and the law, period. And then when you say on an international level, you just, because me, I didn't even think that far, you know what I'm saying? And when you speak to others and when you come together with your thoughts and ideas, your thoughts and ideas put things out there too, just like you said a few minutes ago. And I just wanted to state that regardless to whatever, I feel responsible as a Moor, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like anyone who's truly a Moor would feel responsible to ensure that the laws are upheld and the laws are enforced. And, I don't really know much, but I know enough to know that when it comes down to things like this, and that's why it's so important to educate yourself and as mothers, our children, because these are things that we have to know for later on down the line when our children become the adults and the ones who are, being active.
Mhm. Absolutely.
But that's pretty much all I had to say.
Yeah, and that's a good thing though, because also there's you might be familiar with the Moor's responsibility page on RVBeypublications.com.
Right.
It goes into it as well, because we do have a responsibility. I mean, like we say we're a nation, which is true, and in fact we are, right? But look at the responsibilities that go with that. As a nation, we can't always be dependent. Like, there has to be some sort of thing. All right, well, we're not going by, all right, let me not say it like that. They're going by a different agenda that is not necessarily to the benefit of our nation right now, not intentionally. It is because it's making us stronger, but intentionally, that's not the intent they had. You know what I mean? So when we press back, it's like a different stand-up. But, yeah, we should, because, as it says, all political power is inherent in the people. You know what I mean? So the people have a responsibility. That's just the bottom line. It's not, whoa, man, what was we reading earlier? It was saying how, it's not the job of the government to keep the citizens in order. It's the job of the, quote, citizens to keep the, quote, government in order, And that's really what it is. So when we step up and take our place amongst the affairs of men, you know what I mean? Like, this is it. This is a prime example of what Noble Drew Ali was talking about. Taking our place, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? Somebody might be the Mufti, somebody might be the Grand Sheikh, somebody might be the one who makes sure everybody eats, whatever it is. Like, situations like this, because for everybody to take their place amongst the affairs of men. Some people might not know their place amongst the affairs of men, and it doesn't necessarily mean, you always have to be in the same building with others or anything like that. It's just knowing your place, what you can contribute when it's time to contribute, So you might have different sources that somebody else might not have, but we all have to rein on that. So that's basically what it is. So yeah, definitely, and I'm not the one to tell anybody what to do, but I'm just saying, as a sister, it's good that you feel responsible, because really that's the root of everybody knowing is from the mother, and that's just a natural stone cold fact. So that's a good thing, So yeah, we should all feel like we have a responsibility to the law of our forefathers, the foremothers, both, because we are all one, really. So if nothing else, everybody say unity and everything like that, that's cool, but what about on this level? You know what I mean? This on this type of level. Every Moor just got shot, an international situation. Whether every Moor is going to be responsible, I can't say that's the truth, but that is the truth. We all just got called out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. Don't miss your calling, whatever.
My appellation is RVBey, and I'm from Northwestern Exxon at the corporate state of New York. So, yeah, that's it's more so. I thank you, brothers, very much for all the information and everything that I'm getting, because if it wasn't put in place, I would not know, and I would still be asleep. And Noble Ali did what he needed to do to get it here for us that are here now, so we can know now. And it's our job to make sure that more of our brothers and sisters become awake and become aware. And you guys are doing an excellent job, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bilal. Appreciate that.
Islam
says thank you for calling. Oh, okay, cool.
Also to put on the record again, to stress the fact that of the quote that you said, that it's the people who are responsible to make sure government does what they're supposed to do. Right? So as we monitor the situation and realize that there's no activity being done by Moors in that jurisdiction, know that the people have a part to play in that, because they're supposed to be ones that's supposed to be pressuring these people called Grand whatever to institute whatever it is that they're going to institute with regard to whatever happened, whether it's a official letter or whether it's, a suit or whatever. It has to be the people that get the heads to do their job, because if you leave it up to them, you already know what's going down and you leave it up to them. You know what I mean? So and like Brother Miz is saying, we're all getting called out. You know what I mean? We're all being put on blast.
Yeah.
Well, ain't nothing. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got your ass whooped in the mall because you did something you shouldn't did. It's not a negative. It's for us to get our stuff in order. You know what I mean? Moors who are ready, stay ready. And Moors who aren't ready, it's time for you to step up. If you aren't ready, you know what I mean? If you haven't taken your place amongst the affairs of men, you better. You know what I mean? Because again, not to, I'm of the perspective that we look at our side first. What are we doing first before we look at somebody else pointing at them about what they're doing? I mean, because Joali even said that it's our people practicing the things that are unconstitutional that make them get violated. I mean, it's not somebody violating us because they're against the Constitution. It's people violating us because we put ourselves in the position of unconstitutional behavior that allows us to get violated. You know, I'm not giving them so much credit that they know how to kill me.
Right.
They don't know how to kill me. They don't even know how to build the pyramids. How could they kill me? So there must be something that I'm doing wrong that has them killing me every generation, more and more, younger and younger, because they're doing the same things that they've been doing. They haven't changed anything that they're doing. They're doing the same stuff that they've been doing. Inquisition practices, same thing. Against who? The Moors, who don't know that they're Moors. They think that they're Morenos and Christians and all these other things that they're not. You know what I mean? And again, guilty by association. Because if you're a Moor and you're not trying to uplift Negro, black, colored people out of their dead status, you might as well be a nigger with them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it serves no purpose to be the only Moor around some Negroes.
Indeed. It's true. It's true. Gives the company you keep the energy around rubs off. So you're right, bro.
Yep.
Definitely true. So with that being said, bro, I want to again thank the sister for our call and energy on the night. You as well. Before we go back in, we got a special chime in back in. Hold on. All right. Peace and love, Mom. You with us?
Yeah, Islam, I'm just going to be real brief because I already had an opportunity to speak, but after I had come off, the brother came on and said something to the effect that the European who shot the Bey, the national, they want to give him the death penalty. Now, whether that happens, doesn't happen, et cetera, like that. I also heard the comment by one of you where, well, does that mean now that you know, the other Moors that are unconscious or even the conscious one will become more active instead of passive, you know, with their activities in terms of proclaiming now that they're a national because they see something possibly that, you know, is real, because this is real. This is the whole point of the work that has been done by Prophet Noble Charlie and those who, you know, are carrying that through. And it's just real talk. You know, I'm going to write something, and I'm going to refer everyone to this particular Blog Talk bot that you brothers are having to, you know, gain some additional insight. But I also heard the sister that I think came on just now or just before the sister where they were talking about, you know, responsibility. And it's really, yes, we have a responsibility, but it's more like an obligation as nationals. I also would like to say this what came to me, is that this could be, you know, like a little test. What are the true Moors? You know, what are they going to do? Because so many of us have taken some of this information, mixing it in with quasi-national stuff, like I said earlier, calling out those nationals. Now, some people may be saying, well, what do you mean by quasi-national? Because they may not have ever looked. It means that every state is a quasi-national domicile as it relates to you, Moors, the national domicile. That's what it means. So, therefore, there's a diversity and jurisdiction that comes into play, period. But a lot of Moors are so busy again, saying they're nationals, doing quasi-national stuff. And I heard Cujo say, yeah, Mother Anna Eve's words are in my ear right now about, yo, you're not a member of these states. And they're just testing to see how many don't know that or do know that. And then all of the Moors a lot of the Moors becoming conscious, proclaiming the nationality, but have not completed their studies yet to start doing what the prophet said, which is being who you say you are. You know, they're testing to see, well, where exactly are you in it? Because if you still believe you're a citizen of the quasi-national domiciles of the United States of America, which is the quasi-national domicile, then you haven't gotten there yet, so we can continue to, you know, do what we do. So I'd like to just add, could this also be the beginning, depending on what obligation, if we take on our obligations and our responsibilities here, as the prophet had said, everything will go back to the hands of the Moor. You guys mentioned Hillary Clinton and her statement that the first nation to recognize her is Morocco. Now, and in 1789, so when you start doing your thinking, as the prophet said, if I could get you to think and you free yourself, you recognize that she's not talking about the Morocco kingdom wasn't established at the time. 1789, this is the Moroccan Empire that we're standing on. Northwest Africa, right? Northwest Africa, North America. So the first nation to recognize the U.S.A is us, and we're too busy trying to be a party to and a member of that of which we established. It's absolutely ludicrous. So with that being said, and with Moors, trusting that Moors will really raise their consciousness level right now, this could be on a positive level the beginning as well. As I said, the sword coming in, but at the same time, it's getting us to move and act. And so it could be beginning of how this is going to end up in the hands of the Moors, because the truth is, it always is and has been in the hands of Moors. It's just that we have been asleep. So I just wanted to add that. Peace and love.
Right. Islam. Right. Okay. Caller put their hands down, but we're still going to go to the next caller. 585-410. You're live on the air, family. Are you with us?
Yes, this is Naeem Azrael. How is it that I follow Roz? She's beautiful.
Right on.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I just want to say, of course, honors and thanks to Noble Joe Ali, and honors to you guys for the show, and Roz. I think my brain is always in the ethers, but I think, like brother called in earlier and said about him saying something about, show me a more something, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, I think of like this little clip on a song that Black Dot was saying about the suck thing, and I try to warn my daughter about this too, because she's always like, I'm a thug, I'm a slug, yeah, come at me, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? You know what? The universe is going to give you what you are asking for. It may not seem like you're sitting down just saying, I want to see a Moor dead, but, if you put it out there too much, you're going to get it. So, because nothing's stopping people from killing a Moor, and, a conscious Moor, active Moor, no more than, the world is just crazy. But I just think we should be more mindful of what we put in the ethers. So if it's more positive, that's beautiful. But even on a negative tip, because I stopped saying stuff like, oh, man, you're killing me, or, hey. So anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, you just got to be mindful of what, because we're powerful people. I've learned that. Yeah. I know that. So if we're putting it out there, and if you may not intentionally be saying, I want a Moor dead, but the universe doesn't, I don't think, knows to sort it that way, like to really know what you mean, that type of thing. But anyways, I just wanted to put that out there, and Islam to all the Moors, and that's it.
Islam, Naeem, thank you for calling in with that.
You're so welcome, so welcome.
Indeed.
Islam.
Islam. Ooh. That being said, we'll go to our next caller. Caller 317-772. You're live on the air. Are you with me? Caller 317-772. Hold on. Yeah, 772. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam. This is Joseph Hotel Field.
Islam.
Islam. Islam. Give praise to Allah and honor to the Prophet.
Indeed.
We want to say Islam. We want to send our gratitude.
Is there any way you could speak into your phone a little bit clear? Like just a little bit closer or whatnot?
Okay, yes. I say Islam. Can you hear me clear now?
Absolutely.
Islam to all the Moors on the line.
Islam Noble.
Praise to the great God Allah and honor to his prophet. We extend our gratitude for all that the Moors online has been sharing. This is my first time on the call, so we just getting to know things. I don't want to speak too soon. I'm still drawing on the measure that the Moors have been demonstrating today. So peace and love. How do I start and fix my phone?
Thank you. More peace and love, man.
Peace, man. How do I start fixing my phone or 777?
Indeed, bro. And feel free to go back and listen to the archives. I heard you say this is your first time on the line, if I'm not mistaken. I know there's a lot of information out there, but there's also a lot of information in the archives from MHHS, Eyes Wide Open, Principles of Nationality and Action as well, Sons of Allah, and Sister Standing on Laws this Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there's a lot of things I'm not familiar with, but everything is on the homepage of RVBeypublications.com if you want to get more familiar with the different classes we do via this venue of the line.
Islam, can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clear, bro.
Okay, can I ask a question then, Mo? I got a question of the documentation that far as of my judicial notices and legal notice name change.
Oh, all right. What I'll do is I'll take down your information and
yes, sir.
I'm sure you get contacted. Hold on. What's your appellation, bro?
Joseph.
All right.
Hotel.
Yeah, Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph Hotel here.
Joseph Hotel here. All right.
Yes, sir.
No problem. Yeah, that's the best I can say, bro. And you will be getting contacted soon. Don't know, maybe tomorrow would be best because it'll be a little late getting off the line tonight. But
Islam.
I would definitely pass your information, bro.
Yes, sir. Gratitude.
All right, indeed. Islam Noble. Thank you for calling in. With that being said, cool. Brother Cool Joe, did you want to add anything on, bro?
No,
just quickly, I just want to add some words from the Ministry of Death chapter with regard to the brother getting assassinated, but as well for Moors to have a perspective about when deaths happen, regardless of who it is, whether it's family member, stranger, or whatever. Right? Nafino said, "It is not well to weep because of death. Death is no enemy of man. It is a friend who, when work of life is done, just cuts the cord that binds the human boat to earth, that it may sail on smoother seas. No language can describe a mother's, father's, brother's, etc.'s worth. And yours was tried and true, but she was not called hence until her tasks were done. The cause of death are always for the best, for we are solving problems there as well as here. And one is sure to find himself where he can solve his problems best. It is selfishness that makes one wish to call again to earth departed souls. Let your mother, father, etc. rest in peace. Just let her noble life be strengthened and inspiration unto you. A crisis in your life has come, and you must have a clear conception of the work that you are called to do. Right? So every Moor is being called to do something right now. This incident, this national incident of a Moorish American being gunned down is a call to you to exercise your five senses, right? And do what you think is necessary. Do what you think to your best ability, could be done with regard to this situation.
Absolutely.
Because a crisis, this would qualify as a crisis.
Yeah.
And once there is once there is a crisis, it's for you to have a clear conception of the work that you're called to do. So don't worry about the crisis. Don't worry about what happened. What's done is done. What are you going to do about it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really what it is. Reaction. Islam Noble, that was definitely great to add that on, because indeed, like, we know it's energies always around us. You know what I mean? But sometimes people try to summon certain energies, whether it be, and it's nothing wrong. Like, let's say you might have a deceased grandma, and you might miss that energy, so you just call on that for protection. But it's not like saying, I can't, you can't move forward because that person passed. I can't speak because, my family passed, but, like you said, no language can, I don't even want to talk about it. You know what I mean? You can't feel what somebody else is going to feel in a certain aspect, but you have to move on. It's basically, do something. You know what I mean? You can't stay stuck in one spot, because it's a course of life. But it's just it got to be a little bit more hurtful, when that person's life was taken at the hands of another being. You know what I mean? And it didn't have to be. Self-defense is always justifiable, but this is beyond self-defense. They didn't kill him because they was defending themselves. It's because they were violating the law of the land. That's really more than likely what it boils down to. So, yeah, man, I just say I concur totally, and thank you for adding that on. Man, with that being said, we are going to take our next caller, which is our last caller as of right now. So with that being said, caller 347-443, you're live on the air. Are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you, family. Islam, peace and love. This is Sharice Amadou Marciel calling from Northwestern Mexico.
All right.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you clear.
My connection is on and off. I just, want to put that out there just in case, I do drop. But it's gone to everybody who was talking tonight because, like, everybody was speaking on something that I wanted to touch on. Like, I was the one that dropped my hand from before. Like, I raised my hand a couple of times to speak. And one thing that I do want to state before you guys wrap up the show or whatever, the importance of understanding what words are. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like in a world now where people don't even know that yes and no means no.
Damn, sis.
Go back to.
Can you speak a little bit into the phone more? Or that might just be your reception fading. It's kind of hard to hear you out. Islam.
See my reception. You can. Islam.
All right, we heard you. We can hear you now, shall I say. Islam, sis, you there? Okay. Kunjo, you still there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here, Moor.
All right. In all due respect, we can't really make out what the sister is saying, Mr. Sharif,
yeah.
So we're gonna totally fade it on it. So we're gonna take our next caller. We go caller 347-860. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. Islam, Moor. Peace and love to y'all. I know. Much thanks to each of y'all for the continuous fruit that you keep bringing on, even now more so. I do send my condolences out to the family, even as feeling as one of the members of the family. And I know that I also missed out of sharing condolences to Queen Mother Roz and Eid as well, for losses that, has taken place. The thing is, I was listening and I was hit by the story that, which I can't put my finger on the chapter and verse, but it illustrates and demonstrates in regards to a young girl who was at her mother's funeral, and they were following the casket into the ceremony and to the burial, I imagine. And the young girl looked and ran off because she saw a wounded bird, a young bird that was wounded with with a dot that somebody had put in its wing. And she picked up the bird and, to help it and comfort it and do whatever she could to help that bird survive. And when she was questioned in that regard as to why did she leave her mother's funeral ceremony, and she explained that her mother had taught her that, the one that is lifeless has gone on and has no more pain and things to worry about on this side, and that she should work on the living, especially the wounded living. And in that regard, that points out to us, as has been very well reiterated over and over again, as to the nature of our course of action and the things that we should be doing, because we know that we have a whole lot of wounded birds around us. And at the same time, we know that we have a whole lot of work that needs to be done. And in terms of how the universe, even if someone, hadn't spoken it to being, in our solid heart of hearts, and was ringing out for ages as to what must be done next. And so the universe does answer individually and collectively. And we must be mindful as to our obligation when the universe speaks. And this is the day of truth, actually becoming more like cold water in the face to wake up we all, to do what we need to do according to what the prophet brought and left. And I just needed to share those words, and I'm not sure of the whens and the what happened or anything. I just know we're talking about something that, to my knowledge, has never happened before, not to a conscious more. And I do miss some of the literature I know that I've came across, and testimonies that I've heard was where when the prophet ever did go into a court, he brought his whole entourage with the flag and everything, and it was a Moorish court that was set up within whatever location that it was, because it was our land. So it'd be most right. And so that's the same thing we have to bear in mind, that, that approach. And I hear that we do have to respect those who are closest to that obligation, but we do have to make sure that something is done. When we don't hear nothing, we make sure that at least we notify one another of who is closest to that obligation, so that we can let them know they're closest and they need to step up. And again, it's still the universe is bringing out the truth before us. We're separating now the truth from the falsehood, which is, very difficult. But this is the day. And, it's a high price to pay. And yet we just have to continuously be mindful, and that love has to be pure as we go forward, and that truth definitely has to be right, and we have to nail the whole thing home for sure. And with that, I read.
Indeed, that was interesting. For the record, this is Brother Roy, you done ill, right?
Yes, it is.
All right. Islam Moor. Definitely. Peace and love. Thank you for calling in with that perspective and that story about the bird with the broken wing. Because every living thing is connected to every other living thing. And that was definitely a clear sign of nature, saying something, however you take it, or anybody takes it. But things like that just don't happen for no reason. You know what I mean? Don't happen for no reason. So, yeah, and again, in conjunction with that, deeper than that, yeah, we all definitely have been called out. And, that said, I wanted to say thank you. And Brother Cujo, did you want to add anything on? No.
Well, just for consideration, what would have happened if the girl didn't listen to her mother and stayed with the casket?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, what type of violation, or what type of justice would she get, or injustice would she get for violating her mother's law that was laid down to her?
Very valid point. Yes.
She straight said, my mom said, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The living and the wounded over the dead. Right? So, you know what I mean? Should we be focused on little brother? Or should we be focusing on not letting that happen to other little brothers?
Exactly.
Right. You know?
Yeah. That being said, we have another caller. And Brother William, we thank you for tuning in, brother, and adding on.
Islam, Moor.
Islam. Noble. All right. I just want to say this is really interesting. I can't even call out a number. It says Eno Wrights. If I'm not mistaken, that's Cuba. Peace and love, family. Caller from or by Eno Wrights. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam Moors?
Islam. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Yeah, we're coming out of Albion, actually. Yeah.
My fault, bro. Is there any way you could speak a little clearer and let us know where you calling from, or what part of the globe, the Earth plane is that? I don't know if it's like a Skype. Islam.
Yes, we're calling from Albion.
From Albion?
Correct.
All right. Islam, noble, peace and love across the great Atlantis. Thank you for tuning in, family. All right.
Yes, Islam family, Brother Cujo, Brother Myth, and you know what? It's a great show as we're always listening. And I just got one quick question for you guys, if you can hear me clearly, is that how do I attend to the affairs of men living in Albion?
Wow. That's a loaded question, because a lot of affairs of men went on over there, and when you really understand the history of the Moorish Empire, that was a key spot for Moors. Not just that. I mean, though we brought the Albions there, like Europe in general, all of Europe, there's history of the Moorish Empire there. So it would start first with you just being yourself, knowing that you're a Moor, and being yourself, because international law applies everywhere. So when you take your place amongst the affairs of men and declare your nationality even there, and be yourself, it makes a big difference, because why? It's going and showing and going back to how our empire used to run. It was Moors as conscious across the great Atlantis, either way you were going. And if you, for those who study, man, it's a lot of Moorish history in so-called Europe, which is really Asia. Knowing that you still the Asiatics, Moors, man, regardless of what year that land was like, ceded for the Europeans, but that's still a part of our ancestral estate, and just comprehending territorial jurisdiction, even in that fashion, that is really Asia. We are the Asiatics. You are the Asiatic. So even being there, nationality still applies. Why? Because you're right there with, a lot of the, quote, Englishmen, the hybrids, all of these different people. And on this side of the Great Atlantis, you already know, basically they invaded and got accepted, or chased out and got accepted. Either way you want to look at it, it's basically the same situation. But no matter where we're at, our nationality is what's primitive. And the fact that you are Moors, that's a great start, for taking your place amongst the affairs of men, in conjunction with you knowing yourself better than anybody else. Like that would be a start, because there's so many things that are under that umbrella of taking your place amongst the affairs of men. So you might have different attributes in your natural astrological makeup that, suit you for a certain place amongst the affairs of men. It all goes back to knowing yourself, bro. And with that, you can be more effective in taking your place if you know yourself and know who they are. Know who I'm pretty sure you do know who the Albions are, and then they're not really the Aboriginal indigenous people of, quote, Europe, which is really Asian. So that's a start. Territorial jurisdiction.
Islam family.
Islam. And just to add something else on too, if you go on YouTube, I have three links for you. If you haven't seen anything by Gary Biandi L, he's out that way and does a lot of lectures on Moorish, Britannic history, etc. So that's Gary Biandi, Deandel, on YouTube. And as well, if you go to the Canaan Land Moors page, we have actually 3 classes with Brother Sheldon L. from Germany, and he did some sit-downs with us with regard to the history of the Moors in Europe, and one of them is called Moors, MOHRS, Moors in Germany, 2012 and Beyond, and the other one is called Historical Message, German Moors 2. So you can check those ones, and those will give you some links and places to go out there and see your history, to know that you also have a claim out there. This is not the Moors in America only can say that they're Moors. Wherever a Moor is, they can say that they're Moors. Because somewhere in that jurisdiction, there's documented facts and evidence of our presence. So just keep your eyes open, keep looking for Moors heads and Saracen heads and Berbers and Phoenician and Carthaginian and whatever pseudo names that they use to try to get you to think that's not your culture.
Islam.
Thank
you, gentlemen, for your time and your due diligence, and keep on doing what you're doing. You're doing an excellent job, gentlemen. Thank you. I'll yield the floor.
Thank you,
and another thing, if I could share this with you, I know they use that language over there a lot. Keep this in mind, too. When you're talking about your nationality and status, keep in mind that we are Moors are really the noblemen, and the modern Europeans are really the Gentiles or the gentlemen. You know what I mean? So, understand that a gentleman is 1 degree below a knight. 1 degree below an esquire. So you have to comprehend, too, those different words like that. It makes a big difference, especially over there. I know it's probably more common over there than anywhere as far as understanding the true meaning of a gentleman and a nobleman, male or female, the nobles versus in the Gentiles. You have to comprehend that and do some research on that. The peerage and nobility of England, it all goes back to Moors. So keep that in mind, that we are the jure nobles, the Gnostics. We are Moors, not Gentiles or gentlemen.
Thank you, family.
No problem. Thank you for calling in, family. We really appreciate
I will call back and I yield the floor. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, please do. And let everybody know this Sunday we have Sisters Standing on Law. It's the mothers class, but it's for sons to listen in or tune in as well. And it's 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for America, North America. I don't know what that correlates to over there, but if you check the record, you might be able to enjoy that as well. I'm not saying you haven't been, but just a reminder for everybody at the same time. And we thank you highly for tuning in, family. Islam. All right. Indeed. Cool. With that being said, we're going to go to our next caller. And our next caller is 610-334. You're live on the air, family. Are you with us?
Islam. Hello. I just had one. I'm Anthony. I'm calling from Northwest Amexham, and RVBey, that is. I called earlier. I just had a quick one about a dictionary, Bouviers. I order my things from Amazon, and I ordered a Bible, and it wasn't the right one. Where can I get one? Can I get one from Canaan Land? Just a tool, a dictionary tool. I know it seems like a small question, but
like law dictionary or like unabridged dictionary?
Unabridged dictionary. I have a law dictionary already. I have a 4th edition Black's Law dictionary already. I want an unabridged dictionary.
But
have you tried any?
I've tried Amazon, and it just wasn't. It didn't. I mean, it wasn't the right one. The one I got from Amazon.
You could try eBay as well.
What is it now?
You could try eBay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and what you really want to do, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, my fault, bro. Go ahead. My bad.
No, it's all good. No, I was just gonna say also too, if there's any thrift stores or like independent mom and pop bookstores, used bookstores, like university libraries even.
Oh, okay.
University libraries, college libraries, high school, even a high school library, they might have like a little throwaway cart or something like that, books that they're getting rid of. You know.
Okay.
Also, you want to look for like antique bookshops, because you were mentioning, you said Bouvier's Law Dictionary, right?
I did say that, yes.
Yeah. You want to look for it in like antique bookshops. Look for those that are closest to you, but anywhere in North America, just go to those antique bookshops, because you got to remember, you're talking like 1914, and those principles still apply today, as well as the Constitution principles still apply in real law today. But it's over 100 years old, so you're talking about ancient, true, and divine records. So you need to look to antique bookstores. You get what I'm saying? Like, because these are like historical documents, and it is gonna run you probably like a couple of hundred. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Some of them almost 1,000. Like they're like 400 or 500 notes. But don't be discouraged, because it is more than worth it. Like, it definitely is more than worth it. If you can find one lower than that, that's great. But for the most part, if you're getting a Bouviers, it's going to run some notes or something of value if you barter with like an antique shop.
Okay. Well, is there?
You know what I
do. Well, is there another name other than the Bouviers, or that's the one I should get?
There is a lot of law dictionaries. Like, I wouldn't say limit yourself to anyone. Like, get as many as you can for cross-referencing what you think you know. So, like, I would definitely heavily, like, suggest anybody, if they can, get a Bouvier's Concise Encyclopedia of Law, Francis Rawley's Third Revision. They usually come in, like, 2 volumes or whatnot, but that tangible book is a lifesaver, man. Both volumes. Institutes of American Law, all the Bouvier's information you could get them. You know what I mean? Whatever you can get it. And study well, man. Study really well.
I will, yes. And Cujo, there was a YouTube video you mentioned last week about a lady getting her mortgage discharged. What was the name of that video on your YouTube?
Oh no, that was a sister that we know. That wasn't a video.
That was who?
That was a sister that we know. It wasn't a video. It was a sister that we spoke to, that we deal with.
Okay.
But just shoot me an email and I'll send you her email. You can dialogue with her on that.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that. Peace and love.
More noble. Peace and love. Thank you, man. All right.
You're welcome.
That being said, we're going to take our next caller. Hold on. All right. Caller 609-356. Peace, family. You live on the air. You with us? 609-356.
Yes, I'm right here.
Islam.
Islam.
I'm from Shiekti, Northwestern Mexham. And
hold on. Can you say your appellation again, bro? Go for it. Sound really, really low, fam. Like, I don't know if you could speak up a little bit more.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yes. Peace, family. I'm RVBey. I'm calling from Shiekti, Northwest Mexham. And to the brother who called a few calls ago, I don't know if he's still listening, but a great book to read about a lot of the information in the past history of our Moorish ancestors, Ancient and Modern Britain by David McRitchie. I'm sure y'all already know that book and probably aware of it. And to the other family, that's a great book to just understand and understand that Moors, we wasn't just running things over there. We're indigenous and aboriginal over there as well, and we were called by many different namens. A lot of the reasons to confuse the people, and which is the art of the war tactic, to confuse your enemy. But we called many things like Tories, Gypsies, Falls, Ticks, Tinklers, things galore. So like the Prophet always say, we gotta study, and we gotta understand and overstand the vastness, the vastness of our history. And because literally the Moorish Empire, when you speak on the Moorish Empire, the more and more I study, literally, the more and more you literally find out that the Moorish Empire is literally the whole world. Like, it's literally the whole world. We're talking all four gates, north, south, east, west. All of the whole world is the Moorish Empire. No matter you're talking about the Maoris over there in New Zealand, in Australia, Moros over there, out in Asia, the Moors over there, out Tamari, what they call Africa. The Moors, literally, Moors everywhere. And so it's definitely important to reconnect with our peoples from across the globe, because that's literally our family as well. That is literally our family as well. 13 love to that brother out near Albion. I hold my culture and my lineage very, 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 very strongly. Like very, very strongly. Culture is definitely something that we need to be putting in a forefront. And when I mean a forefront, I mean 360 degrees. Like, we got to literally embody exteriorly as well as interiorly. And it's a shame. It's sad. It's sad what happened out near the Midwest territory, near the corporation of St. Louis, about that Moor getting assassinated like that by those highwaymen. Posing as de jure officers. Definitely, I'll say this. Definitely, as we study, we know that love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, those are the workings of the higher self and the higher chakras. Even though it embodies the whole body, it's when the prophet brought back those archaic principles, because those principles are archaic and ancient, even before the prophet manifested in his most recent form. If you study all the other prophets, they talk about the same thing, which proves that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was literally a divine and a national prophet, as he said he was. We know that love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice is energy starting at the heart chakra and up. However, as I do more and more and more in studying and realize about salvation, a lot of, we know just by stepping back and taking an observation, a sociology view of the state of the world, it's obviously we know it's in a low state. And those principles that the prophet brought back in salvation, belief, faith, and fruition, those are the first three chakras right there. And then the love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, that's the connecting right there. That's the mooring process right there. That's the mooring process right there, the connecting process right there. And faith. That's a important and very, 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 very important. We know that our brothers and sisters who put on the claimage of Negro, black, colored, African American, Hispanic, anything that's not of a substance, not of a validity, we know there's no faith in that, because there's no belief in that. Nobody believes in that, because no such thing as that. We know no such thing as that. But the faith is, I see what we're getting tested on right now, hugely. And if I could recall the old statements by the prophet said he was going to put out his energy in the street. I was going to make the Moors fight, or make the Moors rise in energy, if I'm not mistaken. Make the Moors rise in energy. He also said, we're going to have the Moors, we're going to fill up this whole territory. He's talking about the highways are going to be filled up with turbans, feathers, car bushes, and headbands. Shoot. Maybe happening sooner than we think. We know, just by looking at the stars, we know that the blood moon's coming up. We know that the blood moon's coming up. We also know that as Libra comes in, we also know that as Mercury retrograde comes in, we know that Mercury deals with communication. So
yeah, September 17th. September 17th. No, I was just saying, or as far as the Mercury retrograde, that's September 17th, Gregorian calendar, right before the equinox.
Yes. My born day is actually coming up as well. I'm a 12 sign Scorpio. I was born October 30th on Gregorian time.
Right, bro. All right, but quick question to you, bro, because we got limited time.
I'm sorry.
Nah, you good. And the brother from Albion, he raised his hand again. I think it was relative to what you were saying. But quick question. I see you calling from the 609. And my question to you is, are you by Atlantic Corporation or Mercer County Corporation?
Yes, I'm near the Mercer County Corporation.
Okay.
I'm near,
Got you. This was asking, bro. But
no problem. Yeah,
no problem.
I'll just finish up. It's gonna be interesting to see how the future plays out right now, and more is just be prepared. Be prepared. Study. Gotta keep a strong mental state right now. Don't even be near anything that's gonna deter you or that's gonna distract you. Stay on your path because there's distractions on every stage 24/7, and that's 13. So got to make sure we stay on our square as ourselves, because distractions is everywhere. I'll just end on that. Thanks for the information tonight, family, and 13 love. Aljamir Rakate calling out. Peace, more.
Islam number one. All right. With that being said, we're going to the brother from Albion dropped out, so-called Albion, he dropped out. It's all good, though, man. I just would say, I guess we can go ahead and get into this closeout music and wrap this class up, man. I highly appreciate the energy tonight, bro. Thanks to you.
Good session. Peace to you, Moor.
Bro. Again, for adding on as you do, man. It's been a beautiful class. Definitely looking forward to the next one. But for now, we have Sisters Standing on Law again, which is this Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, again, Tuesday, Principles of Nationality and Action. And prior to that, Renshi Kujo goes in from 7:30. And if you could just let the people know, if they do not know, how to tune in with that for the record.
Islam is Tuesdays, 7 p.m. ustream.tv/channel/MHT online Kananta KANAANTA, and that's every Tuesday, 7 p.m.
And right after that, we follow up with Principles in Nationality and Action. We thank you all, Moors, for tuning in, listening tonight. And we trust everybody have a safe night as we go into the so-called next day, and as we exist in perpetuity, infinitely.
And one more thing, the intro music was Iron Sheik, and you can get that at willofalah.com.
Oh yeah. We definitely got some bangers, bro. Definitely got them. With that, we're gonna play our closeout music, the two Moorish classics, as declared by the people. These are the two Moorish anthems for the summer. So, without further ado, get into that. All right. For me personally, these are them in perpetuity. So I'm gonna try to play both of them. All right, Islam family, peace and love. Thank everybody.
Peace and love.
All right.
Peace and love, Moor.
All right.
Our problem is lack of knowledge and the intended deceit and trickery done, because even those who read the bibliotext that you call the Bible says he shall fool even the most elite. So even those who think they're highly educated and this and that, they've been fooled. That's it. It's not really complicated.
It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it. To those who need to know, it's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows except those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. The gods are back. The Moors are strapped. We waking up. And we want our land back, running off, that's a trap. You know them guys don't like that. Waking up from a nap, like where the hell my crown at? Take a step back, like I know this bitch ain't bite back. It's kinda crazy how this karma it strikes back. We enslaved Islam, so they slaved us right back. We called them niggas, then they nigga this right back. We brought them to light, but they ain't bring that right back. If I was lazy, dirty dancing with the baby, then just maybe we won't revolt like Haiti. I too smart, love a tour, Marcus Garvey your ass. No, but you are leading. God body the man. Now I ain't gotta be bad, and you ain't gotta be mad, but the planet is heating up, so the first I'll be last. I got that melanin that's better than anything you ever medicine. We at your front door, wonder why you never let us in. Oh, I get it, you never wanted to put some credits in. Well, just forget it, cause I don't know if you can edit sin. We've been enlightened long before Thomas Edison. Skeletons to prove that you wasn't even relevant. In the Caucasus Mountains, cause the sun was your deficit. Captain Caveman with the plan of the Jesuits. Check my bloodline, but in time I bring the evidence. Self-governing body, so I don't need no president. Democrat, Republican, donkey versus elephant. I studied it all, so I ain't down with none of that. I self-law and master, so I'm running that. This Molotov cocktail burns faster, so I like the match. Despite the fact that ain't even what I'm mad at. I spit the truth, so here's the roof, so you can that. My skin is brown and here's the proof, but you ain't hearing that. Dead in the eyes of the law, that's why they call you black. Naming all caps when you fall, that's why I strike back. And strike that from the record ab initio. You gon' need more than some pressure, I got a vicious flow. I can take the road to the high, or I can hit them low. Try to calcify my third eye, oh you gon' have to go. Chemtrails all over the sky, and you don't wanna know. Doggone inside of my tribe, they coming no more.
If you believe that your history started on a slave boat, I can guarantee you that's where it ended too. That's what I'm saying. Then after saying that, and so believe me, go back and do some studies past the 1700s, and I'll guarantee you, sure as you're sitting there listening or wherever you are, watching, listening, you will find nothing but the word Moor, and that's another thing, because we weren't called black. That description, maybe black or Moor or whatever, but that's it. Know the difference between a description and an actual, person, place, or thing, noun. I mean, really.
It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it, to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows except those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. From the pyramids to the project, the beginning is the part they want you to forget. Implant your memory with that noose around your neck. It's the King Alpha plan and it's set in full effect. The butler, the help, and 12 years a slave. Django and Selma, they get them accolades. They made a movie called Exodus about the gods and kings with an all-white cast from Egypt. Now that's the same. They ain't never seen no movie about no European slaves. We were traveling the seas when they was living in caves. We had to civilize them, show them how to behave. In fact, we brought them light and taught them how to bathe. This is trading places with stolen identity. We agreed to be educated by our own enemy. Reverse psychology, I'ma need a lobotomy. An exorcism just to get this shit about me. Roz Mariah, Anna E, Miss Raheem, Tashariq, Cujo from Cannonland. Listen to them speak. How to learn from the best. I don't need no DNA test. The nations in my womb has given from the breast. The empire's back, so you know what's next. The Moors are waking up, now you must confess. Yes, yes. The Moors are waking up, now you must confess.
Birthright theft. The whole deal was, where's my land that, for them, the whole deal was like, this is really quote-unquote promised land. This is really the quote-unquote heart of civilization. This is really what you might call Northwest Africa. And I say that to people so they can stop saying I'm going back to Africa and understand that they're in it. It's the Garden of Eden.
That's what they had in Columbus's journal that they arrived
Absolutely.
in Eden.
So what has happened is absolute lies. That's right. And the land of milk and honey is another terminology. So these things are important because as you're doing studies, and if it says the land of milk and honey, you need to know they're talking about the North American continent. If you don't know that, then you miss it. And that's part of our problem. That part of our problem is the miseducation. We have been lied to.
King Boom. Dirty Moors still attempt to infiltrate the order. Active Moors are truth and take it to the corners. Across highways, past hedges and through borders. Move on dirty Moors like broken down waters. Watch out for agents and provocateurs trying to get next to their heads with the doctor's cures. They never pay dues and don't pay dues. Contradicting with King Alfred to give clues like news. Noble Drew Ali died from Palemore blues. Prophet saved him his money before the floor fell through, and that's true. Even though I don't have proof, cell memory tells me don't fall for spooks. Drop mental nukes, hanging from their own vine from the fig tree, looking up at them like Big B. No white flag or mercy for you fags. 5 point and pentagram is on our flag. Green, but not for cream. That dirty Moors took to throw off the balance of the Grand Treasury books. Getting offers like high school ballers. Those that infiltrate are not Moors but robbers. Robbing the people blind, deaf, dumb, and crippled. They can't tear this up, not one drop or trickle. No matter how hard they try to perpetrate the fraud, dirty Moors always fall on their sword. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. To know what you are, we started dropping it. Me nah play with uno so simmer and easy. From 19 how long, me see it's sleazy. So sick, it's measly and disgusting. Everyone stood there. The Moors did nothing when Drew was attacked.